Horizon Zero Dawn is one of my favorite games of all time. I loved the story and the world that Guerrilla Games had created. The story of Aloy was immensely compelling, starting from ignorance and naivety to understanding the truth of the world and stopping an ultimate threat. That, and combined with the amazingly designed machines, provided one of my favorite experiences in gaming, enough to have over 500 hours across more than 10 playthroughs. Knowing this, you can probably guess that I was ridiculously hyped for Forbidden West. The 5-year wait was excruciating, and I'm happy to say that I think Forbidden West manages to be even better than Zero Dawn in practically every way conceivable. The gameplay is better, the story somehow manages to be even better, the new machines are incredibly designed and are so much fun to fight. The open world feels like you're truly exploring a vast new landscape. The world building is in even more depth and provides some absolutely fascinating characters. And Aloy's journey is a bit more nuanced this time around, and focuses on her own personal faults in dealing with the weight of the world on her shoulders. This game is a masterpiece, and it has honestly helped me a lot by bringing me so much joy in the 2 weeks since its release. As a bit of a recap of the first game, the world was completely ended and destroyed by the Pharaoh Plague, an endless exponential swarm of robots designed by Pharaoh Automated Systems that had gone rogue due to a glitch. The leader of FAS, Ted Pharaoh, cut many corners in the time that he lived, which led to the downfall of the planet. In a desperate motion to save humanity, a woman named Elizabeth Sobek and her team designed Zero Dawn, a super advanced terraforming system that would rebuild the Earth once all of the Pharaoh robots had shut down. Nearly 1,000 years later, life flourished with the help of Gaia, Zero Dawn's core AI. However, a mysterious signal alerted the subordinate function Hades, which was meant to be a failsafe in case the planet failed at terraforming. Gaia soon proceeded to destroy her primary base of operations and purge herself so Hades would be delayed from destroying the planet again. In this process, Gaia had ordered the birth of a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, whom we now know as Aloy. Aloy was born an outcast to the Nora tribe, being shunned and excluded from everything, until a coming-of-age ritual called the Proving. She would win the Proving, but at this event a cult following Hades arrived to eliminate her, as she was the only person that would be able to purge Hades. In her discovery to unveil the truth, Aloy discovers many new tribes and characters, including some returning characters in this game like Varl, Aaron, and Silence. She eventually defeats Hades after learning the truth of her birth and what Zero Dawn was. In this process, she also discovered the truth of why machines have become deranged in the Frozen Wilds DLC. Now, onto Forbidden West's story. Forbidden West's story went in a completely different direction than I could have ever thought it would, and I'm all for what they did. I loved it. Practically every story beat and mission completely blew my mind. It's a game full of complex and interesting characters, which transforms a relatively simply structured story into a well-developed and fully satisfying narrative. For some, the concepts may have gone a bit too far into science fiction territory, but come on, the first game was about relatively primitive tribal humans in a world full of animal machines. And since these concepts are so well explored and provide many interesting themes across the game, I'm perfectly fine with the amount of science fiction they put into this story. And knowing much of the lore of the first game, when the opening mission, which was completely awesome by the way, discusses Far Zenith and the spaceship Odyssey, I had a feeling where the story would go, but in reality, I was completely shocked. At first we are reintroduced to Aloy, who is looking for a backup of Gaia, because the Earth's biosphere in the years since Gaia's destruction has been fading. When the first mission starts you climbing a tower to release a space shuttle to kill some new machines, and then fight that machine right after you do that, you know the game's gonna be pretty special. Unfortunately, this mission fails and she does not find a backup of Gaia, but she is lured back to the capital of Karja territory when she discovers that Hades was not fully purged, and she has been manipulated by Silence. This prompts the journey into the Forbidden West. Many other things occur in the journey to the Forbidden West, like the birth of a rebellion and a new faction, and exploring Zion National Park, 1,000 years from now. You eventually reach the distress signal location that Silence had sent, and you fully purge Hades after not doing so in the previous game. This came as a shock to me because I thought Hades would have been the main villain once again. Towards the end of this mission, you actually receive a backup of Gaia, but a big revelation involving certain individuals show up and nearly kill you. Along with those people is another Sobek clone, and at this point my mind was racing and confused and shocked. When we finally get a version of Gaia running, our new mission is to collect some other subordinate functions to fully restore Gaia. And we need to fully fix Gaia in order to overtake the AI Hephaestus, which is the function that controls the machines and has gone rogue in the time since Gaia Prime's destruction. This was such a great setup for this game because it's so simple and allows for a ton of breathing room, which allows our characters to develop and grow friendships, and it really lets you care about them. Speaking of characters, we meet a ton of new ones in this game, and most of them are very, very interesting, like Zoe, Kotalo, and Alva. However, my new favorite character is actually Beta. Beta is the other Elizabeth Sobek clone who had been brought up alone by this villainous faction. Seeing Beta and Aloy's relationship develop and change throughout the game is genuinely beautiful. It moved me to tears at certain points. Seeing the similarities and differences in the ways that both Aloy and Beta grew up and how they've been treated that led them to having such different personalities despite being clones of the same person was endlessly fascinating to me. And seeing them grow to feel like they are true sisters, to the point where Aloy actually calls her sister, is one of my favorite aspects of this game. And the Far Zeniths are a pretty interesting threat, even though they aren't in the game all that much. However, the character Tilda really gets the spotlight among those characters. Aloy struggling with the weight of the world on her shoulders, while also not being comfortable with asking anyone for help, is something that I can relate to very deeply. I personally have a very difficult time asking for help, so this really hit me close to home. And seeing her be humbled and struggle with both her own actions and external forces creates one of my favorite stories that I've played in a game ever. Along with her journeys and Ashley Birch's phenomenal performance, this game has really cemented Aloy as one of my favorite video game characters. Now obviously you can't have a review of a game without talking about the game itself. Guerrilla Games must have really paid attention to many criticisms of the first game, because they improved every aspect. They did not screw around this time. The facial animations are incredible and makes the first game look dated, even though that game is still beautiful. The world is so much more fun to explore. Almost everything you will find will reward you. The way the world looks and how stunning the environments and lighting only help with the pure sense of discovery that I had playing this game. It avoids the traps of open worlds like the Assassin's Creed series and provides interesting and unique challenges, specifically with the updated Tallneck and Cauldron challenges. My goodness, they were fantastic. The Shield Wing gadget also opens up many possibilities in exploration. It's kinda like the parachute from Breath of the Wild. This is probably my favorite open world game that I've ever played. It was just magic to experience. The new side quests are also some of the best that I've ever played in a game like this. They almost feel as good as the main missions themselves. At one point you may start a quest just gathering materials from machines, but then it develops into this power struggle between two polar opposite ideologies on how to take over the clan. It was amazing. Obviously you can't talk about a Horizon game without mentioning the machines. And the machines in this game are incredible. They more than double the amount of machines from the first game, and most of them are brand new. Each machine has at least 2 variants, and they also adapt to what parts the player exploits. After killing a certain amount of machines, new versions will develop armor on those weak spots, which makes the player have to adapt. Some of the new standouts include the Slaughter Spine, which is my personal favorite new machine. It's just so cool, it's hard, and the way it attacks is just its peak enemy design in gaming. The Dreadwing, the Tremortusk, the Burrower, the Slitherfang, and the Grimhorns are also awesome new machines that Guerrilla added to the catalog. Along with all of these new machine varieties, Aloy herself also gets a ton of new weapons to deal with. While I personally prefer to stick mostly to bows, there are far more options available in this game for combat than in Zero Dawn. It just allows the RPG elements to fully come to life and let you play the way you want to. Also, shout out to whoever designed the armors. Most of them look awesome and are vast improvements over the way they looked in the first game. As far as any gripes I have, I don't have many. I think Aloy maybe talks to herself a bit too much and gives the player a bit too many hints, and the upgrade system can get very grindy, especially for higher power gear, but I don't really have anything negative to say about this game. Everything just combines into a stunning and beautiful experience. This game greatly ups the character development for everyone and makes certain moments really hit hard. The new machines, weapons, and armors allow the player to greatly develop their own playstyle, and man, I just loved every second of my 100 hours playing this game. I'd also like to comment on the music. The music is just beautiful, it fits every scenario perfectly, it's memorable, and I regret not getting the digital deluxe edition just for the OST. Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok have their work cut out for them and have to do some absolutely insane things for them to top Horizon Forbidden West as my game of the year for this year. I'm giving Horizon Forbidden West a 10 out of 10, and it is easily one of my favorite games that I've ever played. Thank you for watching this probably very long-winded rant about a game that I just loved. This is also really my first edited video, so tell me how I did, and like or subscribe if you want. Thanks.